Hi there everybody, and welcome to this week's Growth Execution webinar. Every week you'll recall we take on one of the challenges, one of the questions that everybody asks about business growth. And this week is no different. What we're focusing here on is what's the most important activity in sales. Now, sales itself, as you know, has got a lot of different attributes to it. And what we want to do is put this question firmly into the correct element of our growth execution formula. So it is in the 14th of 15 elements. It is in sales activity. And the reason it takes kind of this long to get to sales activity is obviously there's a lot of prep to do first up, but also there's a lot in the activity itself that really needs to be understood in order to execute on the growth that your business needs to. So within that element, within sales activity, it's really important to think of it as kind of along essentially a journey, right? So you start, as we know from sales process, that's element 11, that we want to have this funnel. Okay, and in the funnel, there are always 4 distinct elements. Now, within each of those 4, there are very many nuances, but essentially you've got identification, engagement, conversion, and commitment. All right, now what you can see on this particular slide is that there is a key activity that occurs within engagement before conversion. Right, so engagement, when you've got that client, you've identified them, you understand who they are, you have managed to engage them in a conversation. There is something that you need to draw them towards, which is the key activity. Okay, you need to understand what is the activity that is the most convertible, the one that makes people go, oh, do you know what? That is exactly what I want. I thought it was going to be right, but now I absolutely know. And within your business, that is going to be something that's perhaps different to other industries, to perhaps even your competitors who are in the same industry, but it is a really, really important step to get hold of, to understand, and then to be able to execute and to deliver on. So when we look at what that key activity might be, what we need to understand is some data around all of the activities that you perform. So let's take the example of you are selling software as a service, for example, over the telephone, and what you're looking to do is to understand a bit more about what it is that you have within each of those steps. So you start off by putting as much data as you possibly can into your CRM system, right? Tracking these activities, ensuring that you know what is going into each of these sales is so important. If you don't understand what it is that is making you successful, or indeed making you unsuccessful, then you are not going to be in a position to replicate it, to scale it, and to make sure that it is something that you can double down on, triple down on, quadruple down on, to scale and to scale fast. So measuring it, managing it, essentially is your real job of work here. And through that measuring and through that managing, you will identify either straight away or in reasonably short order that there is one activity that converts better than all the others. Now, if you are, again, using the example of selling sales as a service, software as a service, you might find that is a web demo. Okay, so all of your marketing, all of your early sales activity, you've identified the customer, you've engaged them, they seem quite interested. It's that web demo, when you get them one-on-one or one-on-many, and you are showing them what it is that the system does. It's that activity that delivers more conversions to your cause than any other. If you are perhaps in the offline world and you're dealing, and perhaps you do a restaurant, for example, it may be that a tasting evening is something that ensures that you have more customers and that they convert better through that particular route. Often use the example of, if you're looking to sell a car, then a test drive is probably the thing that you want as many people as possible to go on. All right. So as you analyze what it is that your sales process contains, how you achieve success with 1, 2, 5, 10 separate customers, what you will be able to parse out of that process is something that kind of golden activity, that nugget, that key activity, that is the thing that is going to, once replicated and once applied to all of your leads as quickly as possible, is going to convert all of them. Okay, so why do you need to know that? It's essentially because you need to draw as many people as possible into it. All right, so you find out what it is that converts. You then isolate it, okay? And what by isolation, what I mean is you look at it kind of 360. You will start to understand more about what it is about that process that really gets people going. You know, again, for the test drive, you know, is it opening it up on an open road, or is it being able to see in real time what some of the dashboard kind of electronics, some of the digital aspects of it actually show? You know, what is it that's lighting people up? And what's the particular meal that you might serve at this tasting evening that actually gets people going, I've got to come back, I've got to tell my friends about that as well, because this is so good. What is it about that call and that web demo? You know, which order do you need to present things in order to maximize, you know, some of the theater of it, you know, to make it really quite exciting and get people really engaged. So there is an enormous amount that you need to do once you've identified that key activity in order to rigorously improve it. All right, don't just sit and go, right, okay, I just need to make sure they're on that test drive. You've got to work out, you know, from how close the car is to where you pick them up or where they drop themselves off. You know, from the restaurant perspective, you know, how many other people need to be in the room? How exclusive is it? You know, do they meet the chef afterwards? You know, all these little moments in time in that key activity can be improved. And you know, if you want to think about the analogy, you know, Sir Clive Woodward in England's World Cup triumph on rugby in 2003 was always talking about 1%. Dave Brailsford, 2012 London Olympics, cyclists always talking about the 1%. If you can just improve every single element of that by 1%, all right, this is your job of work. This is your sport. This is your Olympics. If you can get those so good, get that key activity flying, then you are going to be in a position where you know that your business is performing and is converting at the best it possibly can be. In terms of recommendation, we always like to get a recommendation in every week. Get yourself a dashboard, get yourself some at a glance showcase of what it is that everybody's doing, what that key activity is, and how well people are performing against it. All right, so always look at the conversions, but also always look at how many are being done. You want to make sure that your people, if you have a team, or yourself if it is just you, that you are hitting some numbers, that you are delivering on your promise to yourself or to the business, that this is what you are going to do, because that key activity does not do itself. You need to make sure that it is an integral, a central part of your sales process, and that everybody knows how important it is, and it is drawn to by marketing activities. Perhaps call for people to go onto web demos, or call for that tasting evening, or call for that design stuff, whatever it is, whatever that kind of practice, whatever that key activity is, make sure you're calling people to do it as quickly and as often as possible. And when it is being done, make sure that you are measuring it on a dashboard, that you can see things at a glance. All right, so the answer to the question, what is the most important sales activity? It does vary on your industry and it varies on your business, but you will be able to find it and you'll be able to see it, because it is the highest converting activity that you do. The highest converting activity that you do, you need to refine it, you need to keep working on it, and you need to keep looking at those extra 1% to make that success even greater. All right, well, look, thanks so much for joining us on the Growth Execution webinar this week. I hope you got something out of it. If you need any more, we are always here for you. All right, from the Growth Execution group on Facebook, please do come join us there, right through to everything on the Growtion.co website, where you've got scorecards, you've got newsletter sign-ups, daily growth tips, blogs, the lot that is going to help you and your SME to grow.